The sea always reminds you who's in charge. Out here the rules are written by wind and water, and every day is a test of nerve and skill. Out on the Atlantic, lobster fishermen aren't just working, they're gambling with their gear, their time, and sometimes even their lives. Each trip out is a roll of the dice, with the ocean as both adversary and provider. The prize? Lobster, a luxury worth billions, the backbone of coastal communities from Maine to Nova Scotia. For many, it's more than a catch. It's a way of life, a tradition passed down through generations, and the hope of a better season. But every lobster tale comes with a story of risk, hard labor, and the ever-present threat of disaster. The work is relentless. Long hours, heavy lifting, and the constant battle against fatigue and the elements. This isn't a 9 to 5, it's a high-stakes game on one of the world's most unpredictable stages. Every sunrise brings new hope, but also new dangers lurking just beyond the horizon. The ocean provides, but it also takes, sometimes, everything. A sudden storm, a mechanical failure, or a simple mistake can mean disaster. Out here, there's little room for error, and the margin between success and catastrophe is razor thin. In just a few hours, a fortune can turn into a total loss. The sea is unforgiving, and it doesn't care how hard you've worked or how much you've risked. These aren't faceless corporations. They're family businesses where one bad day can devastate an entire community. Generations of hope and hard work can be swept away in a single storm. Disaster isn't abstract here. It's a constant threat that shapes every decision. Every weather report, every creak of the boat, every cloud on the horizon is a reminder of what's at stake. The biggest losses aren't just about money. They're about resilience, hard lessons, and the bonds forged in adversity. When the sea takes, it tests not just your livelihood, but your spirit. And yet, every morning, they go back out again, driven by hope, grit, and the unbreakable will to provide for their families and communities. These are the stories of when the gamble didn't pay off, and the sea collected its due. But they're also stories of courage, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of another chance. July 2023. The Maine coast was waking up to another day of promise, the air thick with anticipation as lobster boats prepared for their daily run. The sea was calm, but beneath the surface danger was always lurking, waiting for the smallest mistake. The Seaward lady, a proud vessel loaded with 50,000 pounds of lobster, an astonishing catch valued at $8.5 million, steamed confidently out of Portland, Maine. For the crew, this was more than just a payday. It was the culmination of months of hard work, risk, and hope. For the 6 crew members, this was the haul of a lifetime. Spirits were high, laughter echoed across the deck, and dreams of what this catch could mean for their families filled the salty air. But in an instant, everything changed. Disaster struck from within, shattering their hopes. Deep in the engine room, a fire suddenly erupted in the auxiliary generator. Leaking oil fed the flames, and within minutes, the fire raged out of control, spreading rapidly through the vessel's heart. The crew's training kicked in, but the inferno was relentless. Forced to abandon ship, the crew scrambled into lifeboats, watching helplessly as their multi-million-dollar prize, and the Seaward lady herself, were swallowed by the waves. The ocean, once a source of fortune, now claimed everything. The loss was staggering. It became the most expensive single marine disaster in the history of American lobster fishing, sending shockwaves through the tight-knit coastal community. Insurance covered some of the financial blow, but for the crew, the true cost was measured in shattered dreams and lost livelihoods. The emotional scars would linger long after the smoke cleared. The industry was shaken to its core. It became clear that storms weren't the only threat fishermen faced. Mechanical failure, often invisible and unpredictable, could be just as deadly as the fiercest gale. In the aftermath, Maine lawmakers acted swiftly, mandating automatic fire suppression systems on all high-value fishing boats. The tragedy of the Seaward lady would not be repeated, if they could help it. These advanced systems can detect smoke and douse fires in seconds, giving crews precious time to respond and saving both lives and livelihoods. The hope was to prevent another disaster like the Seaward lady. In the end, the loss of one ship became the catalyst for protecting an entire fleet. The lessons learned would ripple through the industry for years to come. The story of the Seaward lady is a stark reminder. Sometimes, the greatest danger is the one you never see coming, hidden beneath the surface of routine. The sea demands respect and constant vigilance. For those who make their living on the water, every day is a test of skill, courage, and preparedness. January 2021. The Nancy Lee 2 battled a polar vortex off Gloucester, Massachusetts. Temperatures plunged to -4 Fahrenheit, freezing sea spray into a thick layer of ice. Ice clogged the boat's systems, cutting off oxygen to 18,000 pounds of live lobster. For 36 hours, the crew waited helplessly as their $600,000 cargo died below deck. Over 70% of the lobsters were lost, a devastating blow. The high price of lobster had pushed crews to risk winter voyages, but this time, the gamble failed. The disaster triggered $1.5 million in emergency aid and a review of cold-season fishing practices. New weather-related restrictions were put in place to prevent future losses. Sometimes, the cold is the deadliest enemy of all. March 2018. A historic nor'easter slammed into the coast of Maine, unleashing hurricane-force winds that battered the shoreline for hours. The storm's power was relentless, with gusts tearing through coastal towns and leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Massive 25-foot waves pounded the harbors, tossing boats like toys and smashing anything in their path. Hundreds of lobstermen stood helplessly on the shore, watching as the sea claimed 25,000 lobster traps, an astonishing loss worth over $7 million. For many, it was the worst disaster they'd ever witnessed. For Captain Mike Dyer, the devastation was deeply personal. All 4,000 of his traps, representing years of hard work and a $1.2 million investment, vanished overnight, swept away by the unforgiving waves. The loss was more than financial, it was a blow to his identity and future. The impact rippled through entire communities. Lobstering isn't just a job in Maine, it's a way of life, a tradition passed down through generations. Losing the gear meant losing a lifeline, threatening families and the local economy. The storm also exposed a critical flaw in the industry's methods. Once traps were dropped to the ocean floor, they became invisible, impossible to track or recover until they were hauled up, if they survived at all. In the aftermath, Maine's fishing industry knew it had to change. The state mandated GPS trackers on all traps, a move that transformed future disasters from total losses into recoverable setbacks. Now, every trap could be located, even after the worst storms. With this new technology, fishermen gained the power to find and recover their gear, turning heartbreak into hope. After a storm, they could return to the sea and reclaim what was once thought lost forever. Technology turned what would have been a total loss into a salvage mission, giving the industry a fighting chance against nature's fury. The lesson was clear: adapt, innovate, or risk losing everything. Communities came together, rebuilding not just their gear, but their resilience and spirit. The sea's fury forced the industry to embrace new ideas and technology, ensuring their survival in an unpredictable world. Sometimes, survival means learning to see what was once hidden and daring to change before the next storm arrives. Winter 2016. The Arctic Spirit, Alaska's pride, was homeward bound with 70 tons of live lobster, worth nearly $4.8 million. Then, disaster. The central refrigeration system failed. Temperatures in the hold soared, cooking the cargo alive. 8 hours later, the entire haul was ruined, a total loss. The shockwave hit the industry hard. Even the most advanced vessel was vulnerable to a single failure. The solution? Automatic heat sensors in every hold, sending instant alerts to the captain's phone. Now, a temperature spike triggers action before disaster strikes. A simple fix, born from catastrophe, now protects millions in cargo. The cold chain is only as strong as its weakest link. In lobster fishing, there's no room for complacency. December 2004. A monstrous storm hit Nova Scotia just before Christmas, with boats rushing to land their holiday catch. Despite hurricane warnings, many crews went out and paid the price. 8 ships vanished, 12 sailors lost, and $3.6 million in boats and cargo gone. The tragedy devastated families and communities on both sides of the border. It wasn't just about lost profits, it was about lost lives. The disaster exposed gaps in weather warnings and communication. In response, the US and Canada built a joint, high-precision marine warning network. Since then, maritime accidents have dropped by 60%. Sometimes, the greatest legacy of loss is the lives it saves. Behind every million-dollar loss is a story of human cost. The lobster industry is the lifeblood of thousands of families, not faceless corporations. When disaster strikes, the impact ripples through entire communities. Crew, owners, dock workers, and families. The pressure is immense. One lost haul can mean a year's income, a child's education, or the future of a business. For Captain Mike Dyer, losing 4,000 traps meant losing a lifetime's work. For the families of the 12 lost in 2004, no money can fill the void. These tragedies force the industry to confront its vulnerabilities and drive change. Every loss is a lesson, every disaster a catalyst for innovation. The human cost is the true price of progress. The sea's harshest lessons are written in lives, not just dollars. Out of disaster, a technological revolution has transformed the lobster fleet. Each catastrophe revealed a weakness. Each response was a leap forward. Automatic fire suppression, GPS-tracked traps, and heat sensors are now standard. These tools turn silent threats into manageable problems. The 2004 storm led to a joint US-Canada marine warning network, saving countless lives. Now, captains get real-time alerts about fire, weather, or failing equipment. What was once a blind gamble is now a calculated risk. Technology doesn't tame the sea, but it gives fishermen a fighting chance. The industry is more resilient, safer, and smarter than ever before. Progress is built on the lessons of loss. Today's lobster industry is a testament to resilience and adaptation. Hard-won lessons have shaped a safer, smarter, and more sustainable fishery. Modern boats are equipped with real-time data, GPS, and advanced safety systems. Risk remains, but technology provides a crucial buffer. Recoverable traps mean less environmental damage and more stable incomes. Safety and sustainability now go hand in hand. The ocean will never be tamed, but the future is brighter. The ghosts of past disasters have inspired a legacy of innovation. The price was high, but it bought a safer tomorrow. The lobster's journey is still perilous, but now it's a journey with hope.